you doing? Hope you're having a damn good day. Welcome back to the channel, and we will be looking to break down Spain's set of tactics in the game FC24. Of course, we're looking to try and replicate their build-up play, recreate their defensive structure, and of course, all this will be done in, well, FC24. Of course, they do have a new manager, Luis de la Fuente. He is slightly different to how Luis Enrique has set this team up, but off the bat, you can see it is a very similar structure. So there's no real major changes. They're not going to be playing counter-attacking football or anything of the sort. It's very much play through the lines, pass and move, pass the ball, keep the ball, maintain possession as much as possible. So we'll start off with the team right here. We've got Oyarzabal as the left winger, Morata and Torres as the right winger, competing the front three. Now, what I did see was Oyarzabal is obviously a natural left-footed player, whereas Torres is a natural right-footed player. So I think the more natural crossing, the more natural wingers on either flank makes the most sense for trying to supply either the forwards or potentially the midfielders that advance on into the box. We've got a very balanced midfield of Gavi, Rodri, and Marino. I think, when Pedri does come back, he'll probably take the likes of Marino's place. But a very nice, solid, balanced midfield, providing a nice layer and a nice platform to build up off of. We've got Balde, Laporte, Lenormand, and then Carvajal in the defense. And between the sticks, we've got Simon. In the subs area, we've got Joselu, Fati, Ruiz, Zubamendi, Kepa, Navas, and then Garcia. And then in the reserves, I will be mentioning them all because they're all very good players. We've got Torres, Azpilicueta, Williams, Araya, Olmo, Gaia, Pedri, and then Asensio. So for the formation going forward, it's a very basic 4-3-3 holding midfield, and the only real changes I have made was I moved the wingers slightly wider, creating a nice width in this team, creating a lot of space in the midfield, a lot of angles to be exploited by Spain going forward. And you do want to try and create a system where either your wingers hug the touchline and create the width, or potentially your fullbacks can do the same. But either or can invert and potentially, trade shots or link up with the midfield themselves. So for the tactics going forward, the defensive style I've set to pressure on heavy touch, waiting calmly for the opposition to make a mistake and then pouncing, pressing as a cohesive unit, making sure that they're exploiting the opposition's mistake at times. For the team width, I've gone with the 55. It does allow you to have a bit more of a flair and a bit more ability to have a 1v1 situation, have your man potentially mark his man out of the game. For the depth, it's a very, very hard line. Laporte and Lenormand were at most times playing almost in the opposition's midfield. That's how high up they were in the game, especially against Scotland. Very high, very aggressive. Maybe against a better team, they will look to drop a bit more, maybe around an 80, but a very, very hard line nonetheless. So for the offense, the build-up play and chance creation is set to tiki-taka style football. So if you are looking to try and implement a tactical vision, tiki-taka makes the most sense, doesn't it? But basically, you want to try and keep the ball as best as possible, pass and move consistently, making sure that players are linking up play, moving into spaces where you will be looking to try and exploit, popping up in those little half spaces, trying to make the opposition move in and around them, and then opening up spaces for others. The width is set to 70, and what this does is it opens up a lot of space on a vertical scale for either your fullbacks to move into or potentially your inverted wingers to try and exploit. And this does create a lot of chaos and havoc for the opposition going forward. The players in the box, I've set it to 7, and what this does is it allows either a fullback or an added midfielder to make that advancing around into the box, trying to attack the space, attack the ball, potentially work it in and around, and then provide either cutbacks or crosses into the forward line. Now, for corners and free kicks, as always, it is set to 4. So starting off with the instructions, and of course, the goalkeeper, he is set to come for crosses, of course, very good with claiming those aerial balls, alleviating the stress and the pressure on the backline. But most importantly, and what the system thrives on, is having a ball-playing goalkeeper, having the ability for a pass back to the goalkeeper, having him calm and composed, and then spraying it off to either your fullback, your centre-back, providing a midfield pass, or potentially a longer-ranging pass into the forward line. As for Lenormand and Laporte, this is their base set of instructions, don't really want too much changing with them. And then we'll move on to our fullbacks. Now, for Balde as well as Carvajal, both have the same set of instructions. Join the attack, normal interceptions, and then mixed run type. So you want them to either invert times depending on what the winger is doing, or potentially making those overlapping runs. You don't really want them set to just invert or just overlap. I mean, there were times, especially in last night's game, where the wingers were the widest players on the touchline, and the fullbacks were very much linking up with the midfield and making those underlapping runs. And then there were times where the wingers were making those runs into the box, inverting a lot more, and the fullbacks were providing a lot of the width. And what this does is it provides a nice versatile approach to your attacking game plan going forward, and it does create a lot of havoc for the opposition. And as you'll see here, the defensive position is set to step up, being very aggressive towards the opposition's front line at times. And as you can see here, for Carvajal, the same set of instructions for him. I would say maybe you can get away with him being set to overlap a lot more. Of course, he is set in his ways. He does like making those overlapping runs, providing space on the outside for the winger. But I do like the idea of having both fullbacks set to invert or potentially overlap in certain moments. And you'll see here he's also set to step up. So moving on into our midfield, it was first Busquets for 10 plus years, and now it's moving on to Rodri, who's done a very, very good job in seamlessly replacing one of the best DMs the world has ever seen. So in order to try and replicate his instructions and what he looks to do in the game on a day-to-day basis, he will be set to cut passing lanes and have a balanced attack, sometimes advancing the ball forward, other times looking just to, hang back a bit more, protect the back line, shield that area, make sure that no offensive build-up play from the opposition is being, created with ease. He's going to be the thorn in their side going forward. Normal interceptions, though, they are set to be on, as well as be the deep line playmaker and then cover the centre, looking to man that hole between the two centre backs, as well as trying to collect the ball either off of the back line or potentially the goalkeeper and then advance it forward. He's going to be the deep line playmaker, and he does a very, very good job with this, might I say. Then moving on to Merino, he is set to be a box-to-box player, having a balanced attack, sometimes looking to help the likes of Rodri in the build-up play, other times looking to advance on and play a bit higher up the field. Stay on the edge of the area. You want to try and facilitate and create for either the forwards or potentially the inverting fullbacks, making those late runs into the box. Normal interceptions, though, they are set to be on for him, cover the wing, and then having a free roam approach. You want to popping up in the little half spaces that do and are created in and around the box, making sure that he is popping up and putting potential players out of position from the opposition. Moving on to Gavi, though, he's set to get forward, having a balanced crossing run, sometimes looking to advance deeper into the box, creating those little cutback opportunities for the strikers, or potentially looking to create in and around the attacking third. Aggressive interceptions, though, are set to be on for him, cover the wing and then stick to position. Sometimes you can have him set to free roam, but I think with Merino in that role, I think it best suits him just to stick to position. And you will see that Gavi will take up more of the natural number 10 role, and that's why we sometimes see them set up in a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-2-1-3 potentially with a natural 10, and that's the position that Gavi will look to try and take up more times than not. So moving into our forward line, we've got Morata. He's set to having a balance with sometimes making those arcing runs from wider areas, other times looking just to stay central, latch onto the crosses, and have that ball supplied into him in a more central area. Getting him behind, though, is essential. We do see that Spain like to have those little flicks into the boxes, little 1-2 passes. The cutbacks are essential, and that's why getting him behind, playing on the edge of the opposition's backline at times, makes the most sense. Normal interceptions, though, are set to be on form. You don't really want your centre forward overextending himself too much in this situation, or overexerting himself in any way, shape, or form. As for his defensive support, sometimes he does look to drop off the back line, other times he does look to just hang in and around there, have a bit more of a back to goal approach, link up play very well, and that's why I have gone with a balanced approach. Moving out wide, though, to our winger. Both wingers are set to the same set of instructions as well. A very balanced approach for the wingers, a more natural approach for them, I would say. Having a balanced or a basic defensive support, sometimes looking to help the fullback out. If need be, you do want your wingers helping your fullbacks out, tracking back, making sure that their defensive work rate is just as good as their attacking outlets. So for the chance creation, a balanced width best suits what the system requires. Sometimes having your wingers hold the width in the team on those wider areas a lot more. Other times having them drift inside, becoming more of an inverted winger, creating shot opportunities for themselves or potentially creating for others. As well as the support runs, you want it to be set to balance as well, because sometimes you do want them getting in behind or having a free roam approach to the game where they can pop up in the little half spaces that do essentially or are essentially created with this team's fluidity and movement, or potentially you do want them to try and exploit the backline by making those advanced runs in behind. And then we will see here for the interceptions, I've set to aggressive, being very proactive with their pressing in those wider areas, especially from the front line, trying to press that back line, the fullbacks, potentially sometimes the centre backs. They will come very narrow in certain moments with their press, making sure that they either force the opposition to go long or potentially force them into uncomfortable situations. But most importantly, you do want your attacking front line getting into the box, latching onto those crosses, making sure that they are trying to exploit the opposition more times than not. And as you will see for Oyar as well, he sets the same set of instructions as well. So yes people, that is my version of Spain's 4-3-3 tactics in the game FC24. If you have enjoyed this, please, as per always, smash that like button, subscribe if you are new. We will be doing some more international football tactics going forward for the next week or so until the Premier League and club football resumes. So until the next time, I hope you guys have a damn great day. I'm out.